All right, hello and welcome everyone. So excited to have you here today. I wanted to talk about this kind of like business idea that I got here. I'm pretty inspired by some events in my life recently and also some of the podcasts that I've been listening to. So I wanted to share this with you today. Hope you find it interesting. And then also go over some kind of channel updates, some life updates, things like that. So a little bit of a pivot from our normal format, but hope that you like it. So basically what I wanted to start with is right now, I think that there's an opportunity for someone to build a platform that helps people who are applying for jobs and clients seeking to fill those roles pair much more easily. So here's what I've got. I put this in a 5-paragraph format for you, so I hope you like it. But right now, I think the current problem statement is that when you apply for jobs, there's just like so much freaking friction. It's like time consuming to apply for jobs. It's like soul drainingly boring. You're just filling out the same questions over and over again. It's a pretty repetitive activity that feels like it should be automated. And then also you don't get any feedback too. I don't know if I quite have a solution for this one just yet, but I think there's an opportunity to get here. But when you're applying for roles and you like don't get a role that you think might be a good fit and is within your salary target and all that kind of stuff, it's kind of like, man, why didn't I get this? Did someone who's better get the job, or were they looking for like a very like specific type of experience within this domain? And you just never know. So I think that part is pretty frustrating. But the biggest piece is just that it takes so much freaking time and it is so dang boring. So I want to get into the background section here. So I think there are two common scenarios that applicants frequently encounter. I don't know what it's like on the business side. This is mostly going to be on the applicant side, or from the applicant's perspective. But the first one is like you're applying directly on the site. And this is like such a pain because a lot of them are like you need to make an account. And if you have an account, then you have to go retrieve the password. So I have to like put in my email, reset the password, sign back in, and then I can start the application process. And then I'm really just filling out the same questions over and over again anyway. Like, is the sign in and all that kind of stuff like really necessary? I don't think so. It creates a ton of friction. I think when you're filling out an application in this form, it can take like 5 or 10 times as long as filling out some other application. And if I'm going to spend that much more time on something, I need to get that much value back. So I need to be much more likely to get the job, or the job's got to be much better. And a lot of times it's not necessarily clear whether that's the case. So a lot of times when I've applied for jobs in the past, I just like skip these. It's just simply not worth it. The other scenario is where you're applying through like a recruiter, and this can be fine. I think recruiters can add a lot of value to the application process for sure, but sometimes this process also just kind of like adds a lot more moving parts to the system that then kind of delays everything, and I think it adds an inefficiency. And I was thinking about an experience I had where like I had applied for this role, and then the recruiter calls me, and they're asking me, about my previous roles and what I did. And as I'm kind of talking through my experience, they like cut me off. They're like, you can stop. I'm just looking for kind of the keywords there. Like, was it invoice reviews? Was it whatever? Was it pre-construction, post-construction? And I'm like, man, this could have just been on the application. There's no reason that, we need to have a scheduled phone call and talk about this stuff. And so I think that's an opportunity for someone to potentially automate those connections, and we can just kind of get straight to the point. Now, there's I think if you're thinking ahead, you would ask the question like, yeah, but if the application is longer, if you're going to add, if you're going to add a component to the application in order to start filtering for those questions, you're adding more button clicks. It's going to reduce the number of people who actually participate. And it's going to create some of the problems that you're trying to avoid anyway, which is to reduce total friction. And so I think we'll talk about how I think we can solve that piece in the next section. There's some new AI tools, and these are really cool. I haven't gotten a chance to explore all of them just yet, but from what I've seen so far, a lot of them are targeted as like auto appliers, meaning they'll help you fill out the application much faster, which is great. If it can like scan the fields, figure out what's like redundant or what we already have information on, and then just fill that out and push it, then you can get a ton more throughput. But throughput doesn't necessarily solve these kind of like some of these other constraints too, where you're like going through a recruiter and you end up going back and forth a bunch anyway. So I think the AI tools are cool. They're a great start, but I don't know that they necessarily solve everything that we're facing today. And then I also think that the client who's trying to fill the role understands what is needed of the role much better than a recruiter does, and that's just because they're like boots on the ground. They're right next to the project, so they know what skill sets work and what don't. And for example, when I was doing construction management, we had to hire a new construction manager. Very few people in our selection actually had like construction management experience, and we ended up hiring someone who was like previously, I think, a teacher, and I think we also hired someone who previously worked in like supply chain or something, which had quite a bit of overlap. But the person who was previously a teacher, they ended up being like a phenomenal performer at this job. They totally kicked butt. And I think that if you're just trying to match the experience, you might miss that. And I don't know. I don't know how exactly you would identify that someone who's kind of out of domain is going to be a rock star performer within the domain. But I think the client has a much better chance of figuring that out than the recruiter might. So some of my assumptions here are like, I think this experience that I'm describing, other applicants have. I think this isn't just mine, but it's kind of what I'm rolling with right now. I think that businesses would prefer, being able to find their candidates much faster, and applicants who are going to be much more qualified for this specific work, and also within kind of the right salary range too. One of my buddies was telling me that the work that he does is like within a pretty niche domain, and so it's very rare to have someone with direct experience. And so what happens is a lot of the times people who apply have a lot of experience, and they require a pretty high price tag, but it's all out of domain, and so a lot of it doesn't translate super well. And so there's this kind of incongruency there where they have maybe the right skill set and they're pretty good, but they're just very expensive relative to the amount of value that you get out of that worker. So I think anyway, to kind of like hone in there is potentially part of the opportunity. And then I think also businesses would prefer to have something that's like hands off. And if you could just have an AI like go and find all the best matches, that might be a faster process or an easier process than going through a recruiter back and forth. So I don't exactly know the details there, but I think there's an opportunity for some sort of assistance there. So the solution that I'm thinking of is I think it'd be really cool to have a platform where these types of questions that you might get asked in a phone interview, like a screening interview, are all just like upfront on this platform. You only have to answer them once, and then you don't have to deal with it ever again. So these would be things like salary targets, commute distance, all that kind of stuff, willingness to travel. But it could also be things that are like domain specific. So if someone's trying to hire someone for, say, like cost management, they might want to know, were you working on the pre-construction side or the post-construction side? Were you working on, were you doing invoice reviews? Were you doing change management? All those kinds of things. And so I think if you can start on like a pretty targeted domain and enumerate what those kind of key elements are and ask those questions up front, and then I think there could be some sort of system that would look for kind of the keywords, the key boxes that are checked, and get those to the clients who are looking to fill those specific roles. In construction, for example, another one is like a lot of people want to know, were you in the energy sector? Were you in residential, commercial? Were you doing industrial? All this kind of stuff. These are things that we could easily just clarify with some checkboxes. So I think it'd be good to start niche and then expand from there. I'm not exactly quite sure what that would look like. But that's kind of the vision there. And then I think this would be really cool because I think you can remove a lot of the friction by pairing people up much more easily and not having to go back and forth with like emails, phone calls, phone screens, all that kind of stuff. And then also too, we were talking about James Courier in Wednesday's episode, but he's really big on this concept of network effects. So basically every person that you add to the system makes the system itself more valuable. And at one point you can hit basically escape velocity. I think he calls it critical mass on their NFX website. They got some really cool articles there. But I think it'd be cool if you can, if you can get applicants on the site, that'll draw in clients. And if you can get clients on the site, I think that'll draw in applicants. And so I think a system like this could potentially have a lot of staying power. There's a lot to experiment with, and I don't know the right execution, and maybe this whole thing will fall flat on its face. I don't know. But I'd really like to get something like this off the ground. If one of y'all wants to take this on, that'd be great. But I'm thinking this might be a cool side project for me to work on. Okay, sorry, a lot of coffee this morning. So that's all for this specific project. I want to talk about kind of our channel updates in general too. So let's go through these. I got 3 sections really quick. So number 1 is audience updates. So first of all, thank you so much to all the viewers, all the watchers here. I really appreciate all the feedback and support. It's been a lot of fun. We're just starting the channel, so there's so much to learn. But I'm really enjoying my time, and I hope that y'all are enjoying the content as well. Now, also taken from Graham Weaver the other day, I think it's really important to write down goals. So I modified this sheet. I added some goals for every section, and so we'll go through those. But the audience goals are, I'm looking for more questions and feedback. I'd love to hear from y'all. I'd love to know kind of what you're thinking, how you're feeling, all that kind of stuff. So don't be afraid to reach out. My intent here is to respond to every message that I possibly can. So fire away. I'd also like to know kind of what content really resonates with you, what your favorite content is. I'm trying to do kind of a mashup of different formats, different styles. So like, we did like the Prussians React video. I think that's a funny kind of like niche blending. I got a few of those in mind. So I might try some stuff like that. And then, we're doing mostly kind of like slideshow presentation, trying to keep it a little bit dynamic. But if there's some other format that you'd prefer, let me know. And then if there's anything that you want to hear about too, totally taking topic requests. I do have a list of 40 or 50 episodes that I can make. So there's definitely no shortage of content, but if there's something that you're really interested in, we can bring that to the top. And then also, what are your preferences? Do you like the current format? We're doing a video a day, so they're not super polished. I don't have a whole lot of time to polish the content when we're uploading that quickly, but I do like getting a lot of stuff out there for y'all to look at. Okay, and then we have channel updates. So for the channel updates for today, right now, let's start with goals real quick. So the goal here is we want to continue to do daily uploads Monday through Friday. I think 5 days a week is pretty good. And then making improvements every single time. I've got a little checklist on the side here. And so after every video, I'm writing down all these different ways that I can improve. And every time I publish an episode, I'm always like, man, there's so much that I could do. I just would need more time in order to do it. So really the constraint here is just how do we make those improvements without spending too much time every day. Uploading things updated like workflows, templates, and then just like skill that's going to build over time. Things that'll let me get more done with my time is really what I'm trying to focus on here. Initially, I think we're trying to start with a higher click-through rate and lower retention, basically just kind of like getting people in the door. If we can start to find a fit and hopefully just get a lot of views, I think that'll help us iterate really quickly and get feedback really quickly so that we can make the best product. But once we're kind of more established, I really want to focus on a specific niche, and so we'll probably have a lower click-through rate as we focus on kind of the intended audience, with a higher retention is the goal here. So that might change the way that we do things. I'm sure that there will be quite a few evolutions to come. Current video production takes about 3 or 4 hours to make the content that I'm currently producing, which is fine right now, but it does kind of limit the time that I can devote to other projects. And so I think this might be kind of the sweet spot for now. But right now it's about 90 minutes doing the voice, about 60 minutes doing the visuals, and then 30 minutes for all the just like miscellaneous tasks that I got to accomplish. Sometimes, the voice and the visuals take a little bit longer. We had some updated templates for this week. I hope that you like them. Let me know. And then I was also thinking about maybe some updated workflows too to try and get more done with the amount of time that we have. One of the flows that I was looking at is basically like recording informally, kind of like I'm talking to you now. But then I take the transcript, upload it to like an AI program, retranscribe it, and then I'll review it, make sure it's legit. Make any changes too if I think that we need an extra section or got to take something out or whatever it is. And then after that, do an AI basically self-clone, so that way it sounds good. So it's actually quite quite a few more extra steps in the process, but because I can start with this kind of informal recording, I can do my recording section much, much faster. And so it's going to be more steps, but still faster overall. And I think it'll give some better polish. But the downside here is I think it's just going to be a little uncanny. The AI stuff, the AI voiceover, isn't quite perfect. It's getting better, seems like every single day. But I might try an episode like that, and then y'all can let me know what you think. Or we can just do kind of more informal stuff like this, where I'm talking to you. I wrote Jackie Chow here because he's kind of my inspiration for this format. But yeah, let me know. We're going to try a few things out. And then kind of future, what I want to do is I want to have remaster episodes. So some of the ones where either the content, could definitely be improved, or videos that people really like, but, we could add some more polish to it and really make a great episode. So I want to spend, like basically 3 or 4 times as much, as many hours on these. So about 10 to 15, basically like something I can do in like a weekend, or maybe over a couple of weekends, something like that. And the episodes I was thinking about remastering are the Iceberg episode. I definitely want to do a remaster of that at some point. I had a lot of fun making that one. The Kelly Criterion, that one's gotten a lot of views, I think, and I just think we can make the episode a lot better. I think the visuals on that one are just a little stale, and so it'd be great to juice that one up for y'all. And then same with the Trading with Emotion one. This one has like a ton of impressions, but I think again the quality is just a little bit lower on it, so those might so there might be an opportunity to improve that one. So if you got a preference, let me know, and I'll focus on that one next. But the remasters to come. And then lastly, just some life updates for y'all. So I started my days doing day trading right now. I'm working on validating the kind of newest strategy that I have. I think that the swing trading and the more long-term stuff is going pretty dang well. Knock on wood. But the day trading stuff, it's going all right. But I want to get some more data points there and build some confidence. Also, just want to focus on hitting all the channel goals. So this would be a pretty big priority for me right now. Wrote Evening with Friends. Really want to make sure that I'm spending social time too, and this is one of the things that definitely eats into the amount of video production that I can do. Not that there's a conflict right now, but it doesn't leave room for a whole lot else. But I'm usually spending like 4 nights a week with friends, sometimes 5 or 6. So quite a bit of action there. And then I want to recalibrate the time a little bit. I want to be spending more time for like brainstorming and ideation, like kind of tinkering and all this kind of stuff. I feel like right now everything is happening so quickly that I'm really just kind of like generating, and I'm not spending a whole lot of time reflecting or making sure that I'm really kind of consolidating the lessons that I've learned. And I think I want to spend a little bit more time doing some more kind of creative thinking, so that way I can hopefully come up with the best products for y'all. And then also want to spend some time on writing. And now that I'm thinking about this, I might want to change this, but anyway, I'm writing a book, and it's more or less a lot of the content that's in this channel. I'm having a lot of fun writing it, but it takes quite a bit of time. And I'm also like kind of an obsessive writer, so like I'm like polishing everything to the nth degree, which unfortunately takes quite a bit of time. And so I'm like, man, I either have barely enough time to do this writing, or what I can do is work on this like job application platform that I've been talking about. And I think I might honestly be leaning towards the latter over the writing. So we got to figure this piece out still. And that would change this other goal here to publish the writing. And then also just want to be very deliberate in how I plan my goals and deliberate in how I spend my time. I think previously I was just kind of like doing whatever I felt like I should be doing, or doing what felt good, but I want to make sure that I'm planning towards my long-term goals. Also, I was sick yesterday, so sorry for no upload. I want to put an episode in the bank at some point so that I can have a spare upload just in case I am sick or something comes up, and then that way we can have a constant supply for y'all. So working on that one. And then right now, just kind of a quick time breakdown. So, I'm spending my weekdays doing day trading for the first like few hours of the day, doing content for like 3 or 4 hours, and then I'm trying to learn. So I'm spending time like either reading or trying to build something, work on a skill, stuff like that. And then if there's something social going on, I'll go hang out with my friends after. So it's a pretty jam-packed day, but that's what's going on. And then weekends are basically just this giant tug of war between trying to be productive and trying to be social. I love weekends for like project time and get into like a deep flow state, and I can get stuff done. But also want to spend time with friends. So that's kind of the dichotomy there. Okay. And then I think the channel is pretty cool because it holds me accountable to write and learn, which are some of my favorite activities. So having a lot of fun with this right now. And then I wrote this note here too, and I'm not exactly sure what I intended to say about this topic, but I do firmly believe that a lot of things you can get done if you make it really easy to get started. I think there are a lot of projects where you like look at the end state and you go, oh my gosh, this is like such a huge project. It's going to take forever. There are going to be so many challenges along the way, and it's going to be tough. But I think if you just have a way to get your foot in the door, then you can kind of iterate through the next pieces. And it's kind of what I did with this channel, honestly. So I was like, we're just going to start and make an episode a day, and we'll figure out, where the sweet spot is. And then also ease of iteration. So anytime you're working on something and you have a way to draw in learnings very quickly and decision points that you can use to adapt your system really quickly, I think that leads to a pretty good product. If things are moving much more slowly, you're not getting much feedback, you don't have the opportunity to make much change. And then I think everything just moves slower, and you're less likely to achieve your goals in a short amount of time. It'll take you longer to achieve your goals. And then also just the ease of continuation. So making sure that whatever you're working on is sustainable. I think that's a pretty big piece. I think a lot of people get wrapped up in projects that maybe lead to burnout or something like that. So if you have a way to just make it so that what you're doing every day is easy, it's bite-sized, you can accomplish your goals pretty quickly. Okay, so anyway, that's all that I got for today's episode, but let me know what you think. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you on the next one.